Native Media! Hey, thank you very much. Number 3. I can't believe we've done 3 of these now. 3, David, 3. It feels like we've been doing it forever already. Yeah, so it's been 2 months since the last one. Long, hot summer of hotness and stuff. Did anyone have a nice holiday? No. I was going to say, did everyone have a nasty holiday? Did everyone have an awful holiday? Who had an awful holiday? No? Mediocre holiday, okay. And who went to IBC? Yeah, a few people went to IBC. For those that don't know, IBC is the sort of broadcasting equivalent of camera. Did anyone join the long queue? The very, very long queue? I'm talking about the long queue at the end of IBC to get into Schiphol Airport. Yeah. So you took the train. I took the train too, but I guess there was some queue people. Did anyone join the other long queue? You know what I'm talking about. You must do. Okay. Let's move on. Who's been before? Yay. A few. Who's the first time here? Oh, even more. Brilliant. Okay, that's fantastic. So one of the great things about these events is we only get this group of people in the same room at the same time once, and that's now. So when we finish the talks, you've got the opportunity to talk to people, network, do whatever you need to do, but it's never going to happen again to have this exact same number of people, exact same group of people together at the same time. So thank you very much for coming. It is great to see you all again, and it's great to have such a lovely crowd here once again at Arkiva, and we'll be coming to that in a second. So let's see if this thing works. Oh, there we go. So coming up, we've got Kieran with solving some major cloud production challenges, doing some stuff with Amazon CDI. Absolutely thrilled to have him here and to talk about that. It's going to be very exciting, I think. And then after that, we've got Chris, who is talking about recommendation engines. Chris is over there. Brilliant. Okay, we have a code of conduct. It's a serious thing. I'll leave you to read it for a second. Thank you very much. Organisers. So David and I have been running this, as I say, since we did the first one in June. We did the second one in July. This is the third one. As I say, we're thrilled to have you, some of you back, some of you for the first time. That's always good. And you know, this is a group. It's not an organisation. It's not a company. We don't make money. It's all about just trying to get some people together, drink some beer and eat some pizza and have soft drinks as well. Drink responsibly, and share some knowledge. And that's really why these guys are here, Kieran and Chris, to really give us that knowledge as well. Meetup sponsors. David, do you want to talk about Livewire?
Yeah, project. Okay. We are a consultancy that helps companies adopt cloud-native technology.
Hey, very good, short and sweet. Is Greg here to do the? Oh, there you go, Greg.
Yeah, welcome everyone on behalf of Arkiva. Thank you for coming to our offices for Cloud Native Media 3. Arkiva are a traditional broadcast services company trying to be a cloud native media company, trying very, very hard, and hopefully doing some good stuff while we do it. And yeah, thanks to Paul and David for putting this on and letting us host. Thank you.
Fabulous, thank you, Greg. And TechX, who was going to talk about TechX? Thank you, Ben.
Hi all, I haven't got the gift of the gab, so I'll be quick. We're from TechX, we're cloud video over IP specialists. Very much agree that cloud native media is best solved when people come together to help solve the problem. So thanks to everyone for organising it, and Arkiva for hosting, and Oliver for running the streaming. Thanks.
Awesome, thank you very much. And, oh yes, yeah, so I always forget that I can look down there. So social media, you know, it's that boring thing of, you know, you press the button, you do the like, you do the subscribe, you know, all of that. But subscribing on YouTube is particularly important. We're up to 75 subscribers. Wow. I mean, honestly, yeah. I mean, you know, if we could get to 100, then YouTube gives us some crumbs of stuff that we can do more stuff with. So please do what you can, do your live tweeting, do whatever your thing is, please get on and do that tonight. And we've got lots of things happening in the community. There seems to be a sort of pivotal point in the space-time continuum tomorrow, because everything is happening tomorrow in London and in this community. So we've got two things on here. There's a Kubernetes thing. There's a DevOps Playground thing. DevOps Playground is a great meetup, by the way. They teach you how to do stuff for free. It's like free training with beer and pizza as well, I think. It's brilliant. Cloud Native London, it says 5th of October. I know they've moved that for the train strike. They've moved that a week later, so I should have changed that. AWS User Group, London DevOps, one of my favourite meetups back at KPMG on the 20th of October. And we'll be back somewhere here or nearby to be discussed on the 2nd of November. Obviously, as we had last time, if there's a train strike, if there's a tube strike, if the world's going to hell in a handcart, we'll probably change the date. So don't count on it, but keep an eye on it. That's our planned date at the moment. So again, tomorrow, everything's happening tomorrow. So Rise, a night at the BBC, is tomorrow night, and this is a really important event because Rise is an organisation that tries to bring together diversity in the broadcast and media industry, and particularly involving women in the broadcast and media industry as in technical roles. And it's a very important event, and that's happening tonight at the BBC. We've got tomorrow and on Friday DevOps Days, which I think is sold out, but it's down in the Oval. And then 12th to 13th of October, DTX Europe, which is an Excel thing. And then, DPP Leaders Briefing, if you are in broadcast and media, that's a pretty essential thing to go to. And then AWS reInvent, which is anyone actually going to AWS reInvent? Because it's quite a big ticket item, isn't it? If you're paying for it, no. Yeah, well, that's kind of how it is, isn't it? And then NAB next year. I've never been to NAB, but it's like somebody told me it was like IBC without the beer, which I'm not sure about, to be honest. So what's cloud native media? Why are we here? Well, what's cloud? Well, it's it can be lots of things, but normally it means one of these three tech giants and their tech stack and what they let us do on it. As a infrastructure as a service, software as a service. And cloud native, we say maybe it's this. This is something that we like to discuss what cloud native really means. But it's about maybe not just taking what you do in your classical data center scenario and chucking it in the cloud and thinking it's going to be cost effective. So cloud native media. Well, we put together some of the cloud native tools, and we put together media, radio, and TV. And hope that we can do some radio and TV and maybe some other type music magazines, possibly. But I think most people here are from radio and TV. We try and do sort of back-end workflows and what have you in the cloud. So news. There's so much has happened since the summer, hasn't it? I'm not going to go into the obvious stuff, but we're going back to the 90s. Does anyone know what this is from? Driven by an unknown force. Yeah, so we're getting a reboot of Quantum Leap, or as one of my friends used to call it, Quantum Sleep. So if you're into that, it's happening. I don't think they've got a UK deal, have they, to actually show it in the UK? But I'm sure BitTorrent's on it. So yesterday, in fact, Sky launched this long-awaited streaming device. They called it Sky Stream, which was codenamed the Puck. So they're going to get rid of, I think, over an extended period of time, they're going to move away from doing satellite distribution and move into streaming. So this is Sky Glass without the TV, basically. Ir35 reforms dead. So we've had economic chaos in the last few days, but one of the good things that come out, maybe the only good thing to come out of last Friday was this whole IR35. These IR35 reforms are dead and buried, which I think a lot of people are happy about in our industry and elsewhere. And the other thing, I guess, in general news is the rise of Rust. Does anyone know what Rust is, apart from the brown thing? Yeah, so Rust is so it's going to be in the next Linux kernel, apparently. We've had a lot of announcements last couple of weeks. CTO of Azure saying that they're going to embrace Rust. So Rust is basically the replacement for C++ in hardcore programming. Good luck. Yeah, well, we'll see what happens with that, but it's definitely a talking point. So David's going to have some cloud native news for us.
Hello, everyone. So welcome to Cloud Native News, which I'm legally obliged not to call CNN. So I just want to say that Rust bit seemed a bit cloud native. Feel like you're moving in on my turf, if I'm honest, but there you go. So some cloud native news, a bit more boring. What Paul announced, vSphere version 8 is nearly here. So I know a lot of media companies run traditional infrastructure, traditional private data centers, and vSphere is a big part of that. And so what we're seeing is VMware pushing heavily towards unifying, having a sort of unified declarative API, which is based around Kubernetes as well. So they're looking to be able to provision hardware workloads, VM workloads, as well as Kubernetes workloads through the same sort of unified AI. So that's using Tanzu Kubernetes grid service on-prem, which is born out of their acquisition a while ago of Hept.io. Hept.io being one of the premier Kubernetes consultancies founded by a number of people who came out of the Kubernetes project. So then we also have Tanzu Kubernetes Grid, TKG for public cloud. TKG 2.0 supports cluster creation through the cluster API standard. So again, what they're trying to do is the cluster API standard is an API standard that allows you to build clusters across multiple different cloud providers. You give it declarative information. I want a cloud. I want it in this environment. Go make it happen for me. I'll start so I finish. And they want to integrate vSphere into that control plane, into that space as well, so that you'll be able to provision your public and your private through exactly the same management control plane. So there's a lot of movement in vSphere v8 around that. Next up, Istio or Istio. This is a service mesh. It's essentially a layer of technology that runs within a lot of containerization orchestration systems. It provides a lot of network logic. It provides the ability to make lots of layer 7 decisions on how you route your traffic between containers, how you route your traffic off your clusters, how you route your traffic from clouds to different clouds, from cluster to cluster. It's a very versatile sort of layer. They are joining the CNCF as an incubation project. So that's quite big, because they were originally created by Google and IBM. So this is everyone recognizing them as pretty much a standard in this space. So they're moving to the CNCF for mainly, like I say, less about maturity and more about governance of the project. Another Istio announcement is they've talked about Istio-Ambien. So I don't know if anyone who's had experience with using Istio, they know that it's a bit of a pain. It's a bit of a pain to run, quite a large operational overhead, and for certain workloads, I imagine a number of media workloads, it adds quite a bit of network overhead. And this is because every single container, every single process that receives network traffic has to have a sidecar or another process that sits next to it that essentially gets the network traffic first, does logic on it, and then forwards it on. So what they're doing is they've got this project called Istio-Ambien, where they're getting rid of all of those sidecars. They're changing the design, simplifying it, and hopefully moving to a pattern which is less operational overhead and better network performance. That's going to come in late 23, so don't hold your breath on that front. OpenAI releases Whisper. I don't know if anyone saw any news around this. It's quite an interesting project, yeah, the OpenAI group. So if anyone's not aware of what Whisper is, it's a multilingual AI speech recognition system, or general purpose. It was being released as open source, ready to be used today. They've released all their models for all the languages. They released Python code to run this. You can compile this and run this locally. It's very impressive. It is very impressive. So that it's approaching human levels of accuracy in English. They're talking 96 to 97% accuracy with the current models, based on 680,000 hours of multilingual data. And it transcribes speech 50% fewer hours than previous models. I think this is something, I think I've said this previously, in one of the upcoming meetups, I might do a demo of this running. So I might do a talk and do something around this space, 'cause I think it's really, really interesting. And yeah, that's Cloud Native News. Thank you.